Picture this. A generation so stressed, they're popping Xanax like it's Skittles, doom scrolling at 3 a.m., and having an existential crisis over a Wi-Fi outage. Today, we're diving into why Gen Z, born roughly between 1997 and 2012, is the most anxious generation in history. Why are they so wired? Is it TikTok, capitalism, or just vibes? Why are they so stressed? And what does it say about the mess we've made? Stick with me, because this is going to be a wild, jittery ride. This is the anxious generation. Let's rewind how this whole anxious generation started. Gen Z didn't just wake up one day and decide to be the poster kids for panic attacks. No, they were molded by a perfect storm of chaos. Let's set the scene. They grew up with smartphones glued to their hands, the internet screaming at them 24/7, and a world that feels like it's auditioning for a dystopian Netflix series. Let's take a stroll down memory lane, shall we? If you slid into the world in 1995, barely clinging to the millennial label like it's a life raft, your teenage years were probably a glorious mess of flip phones and T9 texting. No Instagram to doom scroll, no front-facing camera to obsess over your angles. You're out here living your awkward puberty years in blissful ignorance, dodging the digital tsunami that American social psychologist Jonathan Haidt calls the Great Rewiring. That's the fancy term for when childhood went from building forts and scraping knees to staring at screens between 2010 and 2015. Picture this. 1 minute you're playing tag, the next you're tethered to a smartphone, your entire social life squeezed into a glowing rectangle. Now, if you were born in 2000, you didn't just miss the flip phone memo, you were handed a smartphone like it was a birthright. The iPhone dropped its front-facing camera in 2010, Instagram crashed the party that same year, and by 2011, Facebook had made its own mobile app, ready to suck you into its vortex. By the time you hit your teens, your friends were less meet me at the park and more like my post or we're done. Snapchat came in by 2012 because apparently we needed another way to broadcast our lives in 10-second bursts. In less than 5 years, the world didn't just change, it got rewired. Suddenly, everyone's connected, fingertips buzzing with the promise of never feeling alone. But here's the kicker. This magical tool, this shiny beacon of togetherness, somehow birthed the loneliest generation yet. And because the universe loves a plot twist, it cooked up something even darker. Time to dissect this anxiety sandwich, layer by unhinged layer. Let's break it down into 3 culprits: social media, economic despair, and the quest to be a superhero. The anxiety slot machine, social media. Let's crank up the sarcasm and take a swing at the mess of this mental health saga, shall we? Picture this. The early to mid-2000s, mental health was the wallflower at the party. Ignored because who had time for feelings when everybody was busy mastering their MySpace top 8? Stigma rules, and therapy was as cool as a flip phone with a pull-out antenna. Then, bam, 2010 struts in like it owns the place. And suddenly, anxiety and depression rates among American college kids don't just rise, they double. Campus counseling offices, once the hotspot for, oh, my girlfriend cheated on me, or I chugged too many energy drinks, are now swamped with students whose brains are screaming, everything is awful. It's like someone hit the panic button and nobody got the memo to chill. Then, because the universe loves a sequel, the COVID pandemic crashes the scene. The World Health Organization reports a 25% global surge in anxiety and depression in the first year of that viral nightmare. One study, clearly out to ruin our day, claims that 65% of young US adults were wrestling with these mental gremlins, making 2019's numbers look like a little cute practice round. 6 times worse than the before times. Are you kidding me? How do we go from life's whatever to I'm one TikTok away from a meltdown in a few short years? What's out there torching young adult sanity like it's a bad rom-com? Oh, and let's not forget the star of this dumpster fire, social media. Gen Z was weaned on Instagram and TikTok, where every swipe screams, someone's got better abs, more followers, and a side hustle saving baby turtles while you're stress eating Cheetos in your stained sweatpants. That's you, isn't it? Oh, dopamine, the rockstar neurotransmitter, strutting around like it owns the brain. Everybody's heard of it. It's basically the Kim Kardashian of chemicals. Famous for being famous. They call it the pleasure chemical, or reward neurotransmitter, because it throws a party every time you scarf down pizza, get lucky, or finally nail that work deadline. It's like, good job, keep doing that. But hold up. Daniel Z. Lieberman, in his book, The Molecule and More, says that dopamine's not just about high-fiving you for a good time. Nah, it's the shady hype man who's whispering, what's next? It's all about anticipation, desire, and dragging you into an endless chase for the next big thing, leaving you too wired to savor the moment. Satisfaction? That's for suckers. Now, kids, they're dopamine's biggest fans, practically mainlining the stuff. Their still baking brains are hardwired to crave novelty, take wild risks, and hunt rewards like it's a full-time job. Dopamine's running the show, shaping how they chase goals, build habits, and try or fail to keep their emotions in check. But here's where it gets ugly. What happens when you dunk those developing minds into TikTok's algorithmic quicksand, engineered to keep them hooked like it's a digital slot machine? Spoiler, you get a generation of fried circuits. See, dopamine's not just about the reward, it's about the promise of one. Every scroll, like, or notification is a mini hit of something awesome is coming, except it never really lands. The buzz fades, and you're back to scrolling, chasing the dragon. Social media is the perfect dopamine trap, serving up an endless buffet of fresh memes, drama, and you won't believe this updates. It's novelty on steroids, and dopamine's eating it up. These algorithms, they're not playing fair either. They're designed to keep you glued with unpredictable rewards, like a casino that never closes. Except, this game's in your pocket, and you don't even need to be old enough to drive to lose your mind to it. Talk about a rigged system. Economic despair, the gift that keeps giving. Let's talk about the economy, or as Gen Z calls it, the cosmic prank that never ends. Picture this. You're fresh out of college, ready to adult, and then bam, you're slapped with a global pandemic, a job market on life support, and $1.7 trillion in US student debt staring down at you like a loan shark. That's Gen Z's grand entrance to the workforce, and it's less welcome to the American dream and more survive this Hunger Games reboot. Rent prices so high you'd think landlords are charging for vibes. A 2021 Deloitte survey found that 41% of Gen Z feel financially insecure, and honestly, who can blame them? They're hustling in a gig economy that's like, drive for Uber, it's empowering, while real wages have been stuck in the 1980s time warp, barely budging against inflation. It's like playing Monopoly, but banker stole all the cash, set the board on fire, and sold Boardwalk to a hedge fund. So why is this economic dumpster fire hitting Gen Z harder than their parents? Let's rewind for some context. Their parents, mostly Gen X and older millennials, grew up in the 80s and 90s, a time when the economy, while not perfect, had a certain optimism. Back then, a college degree was like a golden ticket. In 1980, only about 25% of Americans had a bachelor's degree. So, graduating college meant that you stood out. Median household prices in the US were roughly around $47,000 in 1980, roughly 3 times the median household income. You could land a stable job, buy a house, and maybe even afford a vacation without selling a kidney. Sure, there were recessions, like the early 90s, but the system felt navigable. Gen Xers and millennials could reasonably expect a linear path. Study, work, save, thrive. Spoiler, that path's now a maze with trapdoors. Fast forward to Gen Z's reality. It's a different beast. They're entering adulthood in the shadow of the 2008 financial crisis, which their parents weathered as adults, but Gen Z absorbed as kids, watching families lose homes and jobs. By 2020, when many Gen Zers were hitting the workforce, COVID-19 tanked the economy, wiping out 20 million jobs practically overnight. Unlike their parents, who could lean on established careers during tough times, Gen Z had no foothold. And that college degree, it's no longer a golden ticket anymore. Over 40% of Americans now have one, so it's more like a participation trophy that costs $40,000 a year, if you're lucky. Student debt has skyrocketed. In 1990, the average borrower owed $12,000. Today, it's over $30,000, with total US student loan debt at $1.7 trillion. Housing? Forget it. In 2023, median house prices hit $412,000, about 6 times the median household income, double the ratio that their parents faced. Rent's no better. In major cities, median rent eats up 40 to 50% of a young person's income. Gen Z's parents could save for a down payment by their 30s. Today, you need a side hustle, a crypto windfall, or a rich aunt or uncle to even dream of it. And jobs? The gig economy is the new normal. 40% of Gen Z work freelance or contract gigs, but it's code for no benefits, no security, and praying your car doesn't break down on your DoorDash shift. Gen X had pensions, Gen Z has Venmo. Not sponsored. Globalization and tech shifted jobs overseas or to algorithms, leaving Gen Z competing for scraps in a winner-take-all market. Their parents could climb a career ladder. Gen Z's ladder is missing rungs. Let's reflect for a sec. You ever feel like a system's stacked against you? That's Gen Z's entire vibe. They're running a marathon with weights on their ankles in a race their parents didn't have to run. No wonder they're anxious. They're not just broke. They're trapped in a game that feels rigged from the start. But wait, there's more. The quest to be a superhero. Gen Z is told that they need to be influencers, activists, and CEOs, all before their first coffee. Meanwhile, social media is flooded with 20-year-olds saving the whales or launching startups. It's like if Superman had to file taxes and go viral. No wonder they're stressed. Society's like, fix the world, but don't expect a paycheck. Ever feel like you're supposed to have it all figured out? That's Gen Z, but on steroids. First, social media. Those apps are built to keep you hooked, not happy. With influencers flexing lives that you'll never live. Fight back by curating your feed like a pro. Ditch accounts that will make you feel like trash. Sorry, perfect yoga influencer. And follow people who spark ideas, not jealousy. Use a timer app to cap your scrolling, 30 minutes max. When the algorithm begs for more, go old school. Grab a book, doodle, or just vibe in silence. Your brain will love the break. And trust me, there's a lot to be learned from boredom. Then, the economy. It's a mess. Sky-high rent, stingy wages, and gig apps acting like deliver pizza. It's your destiny. Don't just survive, outmaneuver it. Budget like you mean it, track every cent with a simple app. Turn your skills into side cash. Platforms like freelancing sites can pay for writing or design jobs. For the long haul, learn something valuable. Coding tutorials or marketing tips are all over the internet for free. And connect with real people. Local groups or online chats can open doors without sucking up to suits. It's not glamorous, but it's how you build your own path. And that superhero nonsense, society's yelling, save the world, go viral, run a company. Relax. You don't have to be a billionaire to matter. Pick one thing you're into, like editing videos or planting trees, and chip away at it. Set small goals. Today, I'll try one new trick. Say no to extra work, take a breather, and put your mental health first. Gen Z's already making this self-care cool, so lean into it. And there you have it, the glorious, panic-inducing saga of why Gen Z is the most anxious generation. From social media's comparison trap to an economy that laughs in their face, they're navigating a world that feels like a prank gone wrong. But here's the reflective bit. Maybe their stress is a wake-up call. If we keep building systems that chew people up, we're all screwed. Not just the Zoomers. Thanks for riding this anxiety train with me. Smash the like button if you've ever had a 2 a.m. existential crisis. I know you have. Subscribe for more deep dives into why everything's a mess. Next time, we're tackling something even crazier. Any guesses? Drop them in the comments. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Or as we Gen Zers like to say, peace out.